problem.
Okay, now the sound is working. And we'll start over. Sorry. Again. Let me start over again. Sorry everyone for this mistake. I had the recording off for the sound for some reason. All right, starting over. Hello everyone. Thank you for showing up and being patient with the silence that has been on the air for a while. Accent Quest is the show intended to help people come closer to learning new accents for the purpose of role-play games. And every episode we'll have guests from a different country, and this time we're starting with our friends from Germany. And we'll talk to each other, get to know about the role-play culture in their country, and then they will attempt to teach me a few things of how Germans speak English. And we will end it with me making full of myself trying to make that accent. And let's start with getting to know our guest today. This way here is Hendrik. Tell us about yourself.
There. Yeah, I'm from Northern Germany. I have been playing role-playing games for about 12, 13 years-ish. Mostly Pathfinder and a bit D&D on the side. And what actually got me into the whole thing was the one big German role-playing game, The Dark Eye. But once I got to know D&D and stuff like that, I quickly skipped over this. So, yeah.
And we have Frosty as well.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Frosty Pen and Paper. The name is from my YouTube channel where I record my sessions. I'm from northern Germany, near to Hamburg. If somebody know this region, I play role-play games for more over than 5 years, and yeah, it's. I started with The Dark Eye 2, as well as I think every German role player. But switch to other systems, genres, like Cthulhu, if somebody else knows this. Yeah.
All right. And we also have, this way, yes, Skifina.
Hi. Yeah, I'm from Western Germany. It's near Cologne. I don't know if you know that city. Yeah, like Frosty said, we all started, I think, with The Dark Eye, and I stick to it like till now. I think I started when I was 9 years old. My big brothers, they made me do it. So yeah, since then I'm stuck with the system, but right now I'm trying new ones. So yeah, I'm trying, let's say it like this. So yeah, Cthulhu as well, and Vampire Masquerade. That's what actually right now I'm working myself into.
So when I started doing this, the dark eye keeps popping up a lot. So can one of you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I have a quite negative view of it now after I stepped into other systems. Maybe someone should go first who likes it a bit more than me.
I hate this as well, but I played. So yeah, what is the Dark Eye in German? The Schwarze Auge. It's a fantasy world. Maybe it could high fantasy with dragons as well.
No. Okay,
it's
low fantasy, way low fantasy. That's a big difference to the other
systems. You mean but in general, it has fantasy in it.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you can. Yeah, fantasy with dragons and mages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like okay. Okay, I try. It's more like a simulation of the Middle Ages with a setting that is quite true to the history of the game. It's like players like to stick to the actual history and the actual places. Everything has to be as accurate as possible. And so people in America like to call it the German bureaucracy role-playing game, because it has a lot of rules, a ton of rules, and the people who like or love this game love to stick to every little detail.
That's
so it's
not
more
true. There are just some people.
okay.
No. The Americans call it. It's more fun to make their own tax declaration than playing Dark Eye.
Yeah, like this.
It's a kind of German thing.
Yeah. It's more like if you want to play a peasant and play out every little aspect of this peasant's life. Maybe one day becoming a mage in 2 or 3 or 600 years. That's more like what you should expect from the Dark Eye. It's not like Dungeons and Dragons where you start off level 1. Hey, I'm throwing a fireball already. It's more like it takes a lot of time, and it's more
killing
the
a rat.
role-playing aspect is
Like a whole campaign
important.
before level 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay.
You have to level up a lot so that you can do like stuff. Maybe you can do another systems from the beginning. So yeah, when I played, for example, I played Mutants and Masterminds once. So then you're like, Superman, and you can do everything in the first time. It's not like this. You start very low, and then you can level up like very slowly. So yeah, it's not a system when you really want to be the hero and always punch some guys or something. It's not really a system for you. It's it's
But
more
you
like
can-
playing
I did
and
one
acting.
experiment. I did
Sorry?
one experiment with a group of friends where we started the adventure below level 1 using Dungeon and Dragon, and they liked it. There was a lot of story content though. Probably that's why it was fun for them more than the starting from zero. It's the knowing there is a progress, knowing there's a story they have to go through. That was most of the fun. So I'm assuming that it's probably the same why people would enjoy starting with a peasant or a commoner. If there's a really good story, people would do anything.
Yeah, that's of course, yeah.
I think it's more like when you see a good movie and it's like, oh, I want to be that hero. So it's like this, like you can have your own story, but I think it depends on who's the master, the dungeon master, I think it's called in D&D. So I think it depends a lot on that, like how they describe, how they let you do things. For example, the one I'm leading, it's a lot with house rules, we call it like this. So we don't have to stick to these strict rules, the strict German rules, because I'm not a fan of that either. Like in life, you can't do everything right. So I think it's better if you have less rules. So yeah, I think it depends on how you like to do that, and the group has to stick to it. So
Yeah, I keep reading that one of the reasons that D&D 5th edition became successful is because they kind of removed a lot of the rules, just tried to simplify the game as much as possible.
Yeah, probably. But but you have a book for whatever rules you can imagine for the Dark Eye, and you can start maybe if you're playing D&D or if you're playing Pathfinder or something, you get one book and you can play the whole game. You don't need anything more. For the Dark Eye, you need a lot of books sometimes. There's one book only for the spells, and so on. It gets quite expensive quickly.
Yeah, that's the deal,
Well, I don't think any hobby game is going to be cheap once you get deep into it. All right, so tell us some role-play stories from your games. Share some events. We want to hear you talk as much as possible. Tell us some stories from your
Frosty
role-play
so
games.
quiet, so come on, tell us something.
A story. I don't know if Heinrich wants to start. He can start too if he wants to.
Okay. We have. Let's see. Okay. I like when players come out come up with weird ideas to quests and how to solve them. Like, here's a monster, and we can't kill it. It's way too strong for us. So, or they are scared of the monster because you describe it like some commoner in the town told the guys, well, this dude can shoot fire, and they are, I don't know, level 2, and they are intimidated. So they try other things. And one time my players encountered some creature that was clinging to the ceiling, some bat-like black demon thing, and they wanted to kill it, but they were so intimidated by the whole appearance, and this guy using mind tricks to scare them, that they ran out of the cave and came back with a giant bag, just a bag. And because they were out of spells for this day, and their idea was, okay, this thing could swoop down to actually attack us. And when it did, they held open with a net 20 this giant bag and caught the monster inside the bag. And this thing doesn't have so big claws, so it had a hard time to getting out of the bag. I rolled a 1 for it. And the barbarians slammed the whole bag on the floor, and everyone started stomping the bag, and until they had this 30-40 hit points down to 0. And actually they tried to sell this bag full of meat afterwards. That's yeah, this stuff is kind of funny always when it's not just the simple battle, but stuff like this.
I remember at my a few weeks ago, I played one of my best sessions I ever played. It's on a convention, and we played Firefly, if you know it. We are always on the search for creating something new, and there was a huge poker tourney, and we never use any dices. It's all in our minds, and everyone got a character. No real values on a character, but here's a story, and this is how he solves problems. And we want to win this poker tourney, and there are 20 guys around us who plays when we do our poker thing, and everyone got a mission to complete. And after, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours we played, there was a lot of fun. So I don't know, 20 plot lines which connected to each other.
Wow.
So it's just Firefly doesn't use dice, but in general?
No, there is. I think there are two Firefly settings or systems, Serenity and Firefly. But we just take the setting. No rules,
okay.
just a setting. And we played with 25 people in a house, a huge house where we can move wherever we want.
So you're doing LARP?
Yeah, genau.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of LARP with in a small house.
I find LARP very fascinating. I think when Dungeons & Dragons did the Stream of Many Eyes, they had, what was it called? They had one session where the players, they're not rolling any dice, they're just out in some kind of bar, they're role-playing their own characters, and instead of dice, they had cards from 1 to 20, and they had to pull a card and see what they rolled. And they had to interact with people who came as actors to role-play the NPCs in the bar, and they had to solve some riddles. I don't remember what it was called, but it was part of the Stream of Many Eyes for Dungeons & Dragons this month.
Okay. I have to look that up.
All right. So, tell me a few things that I should learn, like basic German stuff, like words and phrases that I should know. I mean, I know the obvious one, ja and nein. But what else do you think that you should know? If you want to do a good German accent, you have to throw in these words from time to time.
So come on, Scuffy.
Yeah, the part from Germany where I come from is totally different from where the guys are from. So we have a lot with Ü. Okay, I will start with a very difficult one. If you can do that one, you're pretty well.
All right. Can you type it down so I can?
It's called Et kut wird kut.
Oh no!
Are you giving me a tongue twister?
Not even I understand her.
Oh jeez.
You can just try to repeat it. It means like everything will come, you know, like it's fated to come like this.
All right. Can you type it?
Okay, repeat it. Okay, I say it again.
Can you type it down so I can see it and try?
If I type it down, you will not say it right, I'm sure. But I will do that for you.
All right.
Okay.
In the meantime, I can tell you every great adventure begins in a tavern, right?
That's true.
So maybe alcohol is not forbidden, and you want to order a beer.
Mm-hmm.
When you tell it in German, ein Bier bitte.
Ein Bier bitte.
Yeah, perfect.
Ein Bier bitte.
Ein Bier bitte.
Ein Bier bitte.
Perfect.
All right. What's the other one that is like? It sounds like a tongue twister. I need to do that one. Where is it?
Et kut wird kut.
It could.
Et kut wie et kut.
Et could. Wie it could.
Yeah, that was very good.
So it means whatever meant to be will be. Something like
yes.
that.
It's like you know when you worry a lot and it's like, oh my gosh, my life's falling apart. Someone will say that to you to give you good advice and a shoulder to cry on. It's like, come on, it could be, it could, and it's always been fine. You know, like this.
All right, that's really good.
We say that in northern Germany they don't, but we say that.
Yeah.
All right, this is actually a really useful phrase. Give me stuff like that because the most, how do I describe this? When we role play, it's these moments when you throw in like a whole sentence and the other players ask you what did you say. It makes the character feel more real, or at least that's how it feels for me.
You know, in the dark eye, you can also play characters from like areas that are meant to be like the Arab areas, like today.
Okay.
But like in the Middle Ages. So I played a character once from there, and I tried to fill in the words, and it was so difficult to spell for me because when I was in Abu Dhabi, I tried my best, but yeah, for example, it's like ich tashdilak. And yeah, you're laughing, you know, like I think it's the same, or because you have these letters that you cannot say, like uns hasa. It's like very, you know,
Yeah,
so you cannot say that.
Have,
so
consonants that don't exist in English or German.
Yeah, right. So
like my name, for example, my name is Ahmed, and most non-Arabs really have no idea how to pronounce it, so they stick with Ahmed.
yeah.
So speaking of sounds, can you guys tell me about the sounds that Germans have difficulty or get annoyed doing it in English?
TH. TH is the hardest one. It's this.
Or think.
That.
Yes. And
Yes, both?
most Germans who try to speak English and are not so successful in it, they say this.
Yeah, it's true.
Like
I think, I think, I this.
with an S.
Yeah.
I think. Where do you think? Yeah.
Sink in the water.
I think this is going very well.
Harder. You're still at the TH. You have to say, I think this is going very well.
I think this is going very well.
And
Okay.
I think it's also funny when you try to translate something, like it's a usual speech that you have in your language and you don't have in English. Some people, for example, they say, with you is not very good cherry eating. It sounds very strange because in Germany we have this sentence and it means something like you cannot handle him quite fine because he's like, I don't know, an asshole or something. So we say that and then someone tries to translate it in exact the same words in English and it just sounds like, I don't know, very strange.
I got another example. Morgenstund hat Gold im Mund. When you translate it in English word by word, it's morning hour has gold in the mouth, but it's more than the early bird catches the worm. So get up early, work hard, and then you get your reward. But when you translate it word by word, it's completely different.
Yeah, the literal translation of proverbs and sayings don't really go well from language to language.
I think what Arab people also cannot say quite well is like we have in Germany ch, like
ch.
When you say like ich.
If.
See? We say ich, like I think that's quite.
I've been doing this wrong all this time.
Do it.
So if you meet a nice German girl, you can say ich liebe dich. It means like beherberg. If I said it right, like I love you. So ich liebe dich.
I have no idea what's the last part. Ich liebe dich.
I think that's pretty difficult.
Yeah, more softened, but it's okay.
Ich liebe dich.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
It's I can see what you mean when it's because in Arabic it's very heavy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're rolling the R a lot, so this.
We do that.
Yeah,
this is the reason why every Arabic sounds so angry at us when he says so much with.
I think it's the same with German language. When they hear us talking, it's like they think we're fighting and we think they are fighting because it all sounds so aggressive. Like, are you arguing on the phone? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm just talking to my friend and say, hi, how are you? And it all sounds so.
So what else? I learned that the J sound also doesn't exist, which is very strange.
The J.
J as a sound?
Yeah, I mean, like Germany, jazz,
Germany,
jingle. Does the sound, the J sound, does it exist in German?
No, it's different. It's not. For example, if you say boy, it's Junge, and it's the J in front. So I write it for you. It's like.
I'm not talking about the letter J. I'm talking about the J sound.
Yeah, but this is the closest we can get with German, I think.
Okay, how do you say that word?
You say it Junge.
Junge.
And you have something like jungle, for example, we say Dschungel. I think it's also similar, but it's totally spelled differently. So
yeah,
yeah. We use 4 letters D, S, H for pronounce. Yeah, CH for pronouncing Dschungel, and not just one. Yeah.
G.
Sure.
Yeah. So you mean when you say the J in German could be, yeah, the closest would be jungle or Dschungel then, but I don't think that we have any word that comes close to it. It's the same thing. It's softer. So
here's an chat. Kniffix said a garage. In German,
Yes.
Garage. It's the same G, but 2 times other. The second syllable from garage. It's different from the first.
Danke, Nif.
I think what we have, what you don't really understand, is like we long. How do you say longest word? Like
Longer.
okay,
Elongate,
IE?
stretch.
Like we have IE, and then you make a word very long. Like let me say Miete. It's like rent in English, and it's spelled like IE. So the most people that they don't know the language, they say niete. For example, Spanish guys, because they spell exact every letter how they write it down. So they say niete, and you're like, no, it's miete. So you
Niete.
yeah. So you with the E you make the I longer, you know. And we have the same with EU,
H.
for example.
Yeah, or H, the letter H, when you use it in front of an A or something like this, the A is just longer.
Yeah. So we have a lot of words where you long the word without, like, you know, saying the other letter. So, yeah.
Yeah, this was really useful. So what else? Words and phrases that as a German you need to use them.
Let's go. We had this Cologne dialect before, so I think what you want to use isn't special German dialects, but High German, as we call it, the real German that you would learn in school. So you don't get, if you learn only the High German in school and you come to Germany, for example, Bavaria, you're pretty much on your own because you don't understand a single word. So I think
Me neither.
yeah, I think in northern Germany we have a version of German that's Plattdeutsch, flat German, and I don't think that would help you so much to know anything about that in role playing. So I've looked up some sentences, some proverbs, as you asked for them. Let's go with aus Schaden wird man klug.
Oh, God. I don't even say that. It's my own language.
Try.
Yeah, but it's a phrase, and you can use it in roleplay games.
Let him try.
Again.
Aus Schaden wird man klug.
Aussparen wird man klug.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the proverb for this one thing we are so famous for Schadenfreude. You know that word, right?
No, what's that?
Schadenfreude
It's
means
quite bad.
to be happy about someone else having a bad day or
Misery.
negative.
About someone's misery.
Yeah.
Like you're making fun of his misery. That's very bad.
So he
Actually.
stepped into a little Pfütze in German, puddle, and when he steps in and his leg is wet, so you can laugh at him.
You're
Okay.
happy that it didn't happen to yourself, so that's why you laugh about him.
Yeah.
So,
Like that.
For example, if I saw this happening and I'm laughing, I would say that, or someone would say that about me.
No, you when you laugh about this, that's what you're feeling then that this misery of this person makes you happy, that's Schadenfreude. And
Schadenfreude.
yes. And if someone, if you want to insult someone with this, for example, he was very naive and did something very stupid, like, for example, your kid does something stupid, and then the parents will tell you, aus Schaden wird man klug, which means like failure makes you smarter.
This is very useful. I'm gonna make a very a very weird character that is laughing all the time every time someone else is in picture. All right, so what else? Anything else? That is like, this is so German to say that.
Beiß nicht in die Hand, die dich füttert. It's another one. Don't bite into the hand, which give you food.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, like the dog.
Bein?
Beiß nicht in die Hand, die dich füttert.
You have to do it slowly.
Beiß nicht in die Hand.
Beiß nicht
in die Hand.
In die Hand.
Die dich füttert.
Die dich füttert.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good for the first time.
I have a knack of saying it right, but never remembering it. Because I need to write these down, because once this video is over, I'm going to forget half of this stuff, so I have to go back and just sit down and drill on it. Thank you so much, guys, in the chat, because you're really helping me a lot with typing it for me.
Yeah, the chat is great.
All right, so let's go to smaller things, like a word or two. Let's do some expressions that are of joy, cheering someone, because one of the things that happen in the roleplay games is the combat. So when one of your friends is fighting and you want to cheer them on, what kind of things that one would say in German?
I think you would say "Los jetzt" or "Los."
Yalla,
like,
yalla.
Go, 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 go.
Yalla, yalla.
Yalla, yalla.
Yes.
Right. You say "Los jetzt" or just "Los."
Los.
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 Los. With O. Los.
Loose. What else? What else that you would say?
Attack in German is Attacke.
Attacke.
Yeah. Just Attacke.
Attacke. What I would say, but it's very like harsh, is it's if it's a he, you say "Mach ihn fertig." Like, get him down. It's like this.
Mach ihn
fertig.
fertig.
Right.
There are so many CHs. When I type it in chat or something like this, it's a soft. Sei vorsichtig. Be careful when you attack a great dragon, and he's much stronger than you. So you call sei vorsichtig.
Sei
Sichtig.
Sichtig. All right. So what about the opposite? When you want to boo or curse your opponent, but let's keep it PG-13 though.
I think you can say Scheiße, or can't you?
What's
Scheiße.
that?
It's like shit.
Okay. Scheiße.
Yeah.
Scheiße.
Quite easy.
The first word I told the Arab guy I met in Abu Dhabi was Arschloch.
I don't need to know German to know what it means. It's very clear.
The German word for fool is Dummkopf.
Oh, but who says that today? It's a very old word.
Come on.
Maybe current German insults would be Lauch.
You don't say that to someone too.
That's that means leek. So like the leek, the onion leek.
No muscles. Yeah. You are just very tall. No muscles. No strengthness.
Yeah,
that's a nice thing to say.
We don't say that in the West.
Yeah. Perfect. For an elf, it's the perfect insult.
And an elf is a Lauch.
Yeah.
I never heard someone say that to anyone, but yeah.
Oh, that's
dwarf
perfect.
Would definitely say it to an elf.
Yeah,
Everyone
we can start. We should start insulting the different races we know from role playing. Like dwarves are perfect to be insulted. We would say abgebrochener Meter.
What's that?
When you say the North is so strange.
It's translated as the people cut into half, so he is abgebrochen.
Yeah.
Abgebrochen.
Abgebrochen, yeah.
Yeah. That's like half a meter, not even as high as 1 meter. So in size. It's like a broken off meter.
Okay, this is like calling him shorty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what other races? We have the elf, we have the dwarf. Let's do the hobbit or the halfling. They're shorter than dwarfs.
How would you guys translate Grolden? That's what we say. Like
gnome. It's a gnome, halfling. It's the same, but
yeah.
I think you call him abgebrochen too. He's just abgebrochen.
I can't think of PG-friendly words. We insult halflings so bad. No, I can't think of anything that's child-friendly here.
All right, let's move to other races like goblins. They're green, they're short, they're ugly.
Stinker.
The dark eye, actually, they're red. They have red, long hair. It's more like.
I think I would call them stinker, like the English word stinker.
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 Yeah.
There was I can't remember where I hit this yesterday. Like a pet name. Goldstück.
Goldstück.
Goldstück. Because when I saw it, I thought, you know what, this is definitely how a dwarf would call his wife or his daughter.
Yes, absolutely.
Goldstück. Like gold coin, gold piece of gold.
Yeah.
All right,
goblins you could call in a group with orcs the common green skin.
Mm-hmm.
We used to say die Grünen, like the greens.
The green one, yeah.
Grünen.
Die Grünen.
Grünen.
Like party or?
Yeah.
Is this something political?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously it is.
Yeah, orcs and goblins could be grouped as die Grünen.
All right, so
it's okay.
Here's the thing: in English, how most people in the English language role play different races, they usually assign Irish for gnomes. They put Scottish for dwarves. So, in your opinion, what do you think that? Okay, this race should be speaking German? Which of the fantasy races that you think that fits the German language?
I think the dwarfs, the Zwerge, are kind of German because of drinking much beer and maybe
About everything, complaining. I mean,
complaining about früher war alles besser. In the old times there was everything good, and now all everything sucks.
And they lived through it. It's a really perfect example.
I think dwarfs are very German.
And they don't have humor, so. Talking about cliches and all.
I usually add special accents to the class or the character itself. So my perfect German, textbook German, would be the barbarian always. He's always kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's just that's the barbarian.
Arnold Schwarzenegger typical German? I don't think so.
He's Austrian.
but the character. It's
but because of the accent,
but
that is mentally
barbarians
linked with him.
Yeah.
Barbarians in the Dark Eye are more like Norwegian or Denmark.
Oh, that's actually a good question. Like, when you do your roleplay games in German, what accents do you use? It never hit me before.
The Dark Eye got every country in the world on one continent. So after, I don't know, 1 week, you can be in the Wüste, in the desert. Yeah, you can be in the desert, and there are two Lamedians which are Arabic. And so I do an Arabic accent, and when I'm in the north with icy desert, there are barbarians which talk like the Norwegians.
But let's be clear, the most accents are horrible. Like when someone tries to do that, like a French accent or Russian, it mixes up very fast, so you don't know exactly where is he from or what does he want to do with that. So like Chinese accent, like when you can speak R and you say L, for example, I think most times it's more like, I don't know, you're making a fun of yourself, or you're making a fool of yourself. So I think it's better if you talk like this and you just say you're from there. So otherwise the others could be annoyed or could be making fun of you. So
if they're annoyed, they're not welcome in my table. I do accents all the time. It's part of my fun for the game. So I try as much as possible to give Arabic accent, French accent, because I role play in English. But I never thought, like, how would Germans? I can't even imagine the German doing a French accent while speaking German. How does that even?
Oh, I do this very often for sexy-looking gentlemen.
And then you say, "Hello, mon chéri."
Mon chéri.
Yeah, stuff
what
like
are
that.
you doing?
Yeah.
Are you going to bed?
Exactly.
For me, that makes perfect sense when you do it in English, but I cannot imagine it happening in German. I need to go watch some Germans role playing online, and maybe I can find some way to do that.
I just want to see your new episode when you interview some French guys.
Oh, definitely.
Please,
when I posted this searching for German people, a lot of people from Australia, France, Poland, and even Americans offered, to do the same thing. So hopefully, if people enjoy this and like this, I'll be in the next episode. I'll see when I will be free again, and we can do something else. Let's see who is available.
When you do the American accent, please invite a Texanian.
Yes, I already have. The first one who replied to my post was someone from Texas. So
excellent.
If I'm doing English, I'm gonna start with Texas probably.
But that's
Excellent.
the first episode, like at all, or from this?
This is our first episode right now. the
So
pilot.
we can say a lot of bad things about people after us because they're a lot of us.
Do you play online or at the table?
I personally I play both. I am running the the community in Saudi Arabia for D&D primarily. So we have a Discord server just for us, and we're trying to bring the game to as many people as possible. We have so far in 2 cities we're primarily a big group, and just a few people here and there in other cities. And we had reach to people in other Gulf countries, and we're preparing to bring more and more just to unite the Arabs under tabletop roleplay.
Nice.
And I also do online once a week. I have a group of really amazing players. Most of them are from Sweden. One is Norwegian, and one is from the US.
Greetings to them.
Yeah. Hi, guys. All right, this was really good. We made it to almost a full hour, and I learned a lot. And I have a lot of practice to do. It has been.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
If you would like to play a German character, what would you give like characteristics for him? Like, how would you play?
Classes.
When I started doing this, I thought a lot. Like, I agree with you. I think dwarves would be the best for German accent, but not because of the drinking, not because of the wine, because I did not know that. Well, I knew about the drinking though. I chose it because one of the lore about the dwarves in Dungeons and Dragons is that they are perfectionists and creating things. It's not that just armor. They try to build things and monuments and all these things. And whenever I think of that, I think about German architects.
Oh.
So
Works.
It for me it fits.
Thank you.
But actually, architects in the Netherlands are way better than us.
I will have them give me an opinion on that when I have them in the show.
I think they would agree that they are better architects. They would say we are the better engineers, but they are way better architects. If you've been to the Netherlands, just driven somewhere around Amsterdam, you see so many big, excellent artistic buildings. You won't find those in Germany.
And you will see so many bicycles.
Yeah, that too.
That's a really good point. The difference between architect and engineering. That's actually a good point. I can put it in my world lore.
Yeah.
Mechanist.
All right. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Yeah, sorry, I was so cheeky.
No, go ahead. We're almost done. If you have any questions for me, anything you would like to know.
So you said you have a roleplay community. I think when I was in the UAE, there was no such a thing. And when I asked the guys there or the girls, do you know that, what it is? They all looked at me like I'm crazy or sick or both. So what would you say people think about you, in your country, doing that? Role playing? And do they think you're a freak or
a nerd?
A nerd, yeah.
Well, I think globally the whole nerd thing is kind of fading away. It's no longer a stigma.
Since Big Bang.
Since the Big Bang, probably. But nobody knows about this. There's a big gaming community everywhere, especially here in Saudi Arabia, but nobody knows anything about tabletop games. In Jeddah, we had the first Comic-Con 2 years ago.
Have you been in the university and asked there the students doing some advertising?
Actually, most of my community is college students, so because they are the ones who are most exposed to Western culture, they keep hearing about this and they know of the existence of these games. And we reach out to storekeepers that's starting to pop up. Like we have one here in Jeddah, one in Mecca, one in Riyadh, and one in Dammam. That's it. That's all of them. And we reach out, we're in contact with them. So whenever somebody who's interested in these games, they can find us really quickly and very easily. And we help them, we help introduce them to this game and help them find people in their neighborhood to play with.
That's awesome, really. I think that's very awesome because in your countries, like, I think it's missing. So
now Saudi is blooming now with entertainment. We're having cinemas coming back here again. Finally, we have festivals popping everywhere throughout the year, not just in the summer. So the entertainment and the fun aspect of life is just coming back to Saudi Arabia now, which is great for us all.
Yeah, sounds good.
So in 5 years, we will talk to you, and then you will be the owner or the event manager of a big, big con, and you cannot, like, you know, save yourself from so many people want to come there, and yeah, I think that will be great.
Let's see what fate has in store for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say it again in German, right?
Wait, I have it here.
Yeah.
It could, wird could.
Perfect. Very good. You're a good student.
How do you say nerd in Arabic?
There is no word for it.
we have a word for this the scholarly type, the one who reads a lot and always gets good grades at school. In Jeddah we call them Darfur.
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 Like the city?
No, that's Darfur.
It sounds like the city, yeah.
Ah, okay. So it's Darfur.
Yeah, it's Darfur.
Darfur.
Basically like a scholarly kind of nerd that's always study, always on time, teacher's pet.
And you're
That's
quite
cool.
mixed from genders, or are you more guys or more girls, or?
Most of us are guys. In Riyadh, we have girls joining our games. In Jeddah, the girls, they have their own games there because they're less. They started playing before we started the community. They know of us, they get in touch with us, but they don't join our games. In Riyadh, they found us after we started the community, so they became integrated into the community from the start. So they joined the games in mixed groups all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how do you handle sexuality in your role games?
Basically the same thing. We're all adults. Nobody does anything that is inappropriate around each other. And especially that we play in public places. So we have to keep that in mind. Like if a child passes by, you don't want to say things that are bad. It doesn't matter if a woman there. There are children coming and going.
Because in the dark eye, you also have like professions like prostitutes and stuff. So it's a very open game for, like, you know, these things. So
yeah, we don't go into details of these things because if the story requires you to come across such a character, it's fine. Where nobody pass an eye and say, why are we doing this? It's fine because it's a story, it's a game. Nobody's thinking if anything immoral is happening. Unless one of the characters goes and says, oh, I want to go there and do whatever the people do there. Then
okay, have fun. It's cost one
we'll
silver.
leave you for an hour and come back to you later.
Next day, and join each other.
And we have people who play different roles and different genders than what they are. And we have people flirting in the game. It's basically exactly as you would have in anywhere in the US or any other country.
Yeah, okay.
Because most of them are educated people, smart people. We don't go into these things because we know it's just a game.
So I have one more question that I wanted to ask you on Reddit before, but didn't find the time. It's the lore we base our quests on. From a German perspective, is mostly the early cultural backgrounds. So I know, at least for Pathfinder and for D&D, there are adventures available for every setting. Like you have wilderness adventures in the forest that could be from some fairy tale, German dark fairy tales. And you have other stories that are more somewhere in the mountains, resembling Lord of the Rings and so on. But we also have like desert adventures with how do you say, dervish and with jinns and stuff like this. So you have these a whole world created in one RPG, and you have cultural backgrounds and other mythologies behind and stories behind all these areas. What are you mostly role-playing? Are you mostly role-playing the westernized adventures, or do you use your cultural background?
Because I'm not an old dungeon master. I only started 2 years ago after the first Comic-Con here in Jeddah. Most of my games are based on the neutral setting that they have in Dungeons & Dragons. I have been reading a lot about the settings they have created before, because they haven't yet converted to the new edition. They have a setting called Al-Qadim, the old one, and it's very Arabesque kind of setting. I read about it and I loved it. I am looking forward for them to convert it, because I want to do adventure there, because they put a lot of cultural references that we know, and it's there, and they put the mechanics there. I don't have to do it all. So I'm just going to wait for them to give it to me ready, and then I'm going to start using it. For now, we're using Western style settings, like in Dungeons & Dragons, we have Lost Mines of Phandelver, Storm King Thunder, and these pre-made modules. We have people who homebrew their own adventures, and still we used heavily influenced by Western culture, mostly because it's easier to use what's already there than just to create. Just if I want to homebrew, I would homebrew part of the story, but the mechanics, I'll just use whatever is already there for me. I'll use whatever monsters and NPCs there is already there.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't think much about this, but when we started talking, I thought about how I play or write up ideas for games, and I'm always coming back to stereotypes like German stories about dwarves or some dragon from the Middle Ages or something, because that's what happened here. And maybe you know some
dragons happened here. And dwarves,
you know the stories,
and orcs and goblins.
Yeah, the stories. Come on. We have this big this
Middle Ages.
Yeah, it's everywhere. We have a castle or a small I don't know, old building from few hundred years old around every corner in every small town. So you grow up with stories about these things. So if someone mentions a certain theme or a character or a characteristic, you already know what's up. For a game that I would place somewhere in Asia or in Arabia or in Africa or whatever, I would have to use a lot more of exposition and a lot more description to get the feeling across, and it would be very hard to get the people into this theme,
into the mindset.
Yeah.
So when you say there's a castle and it's so big, you can tell them just go in, and no other description is needful. Because everyone seen a castle 1,000 years old, and so when you say there's a ziggurat or something like this, or a pyramid, you have to describe it.
I get you. So what I think is from my experience, we're heavily influenced by mostly American TV. So we have The Hobbit, we have the Lord of the Rings, we have Game of Thrones. So a lot of what we know is easily understood because of the pop culture that arrived from the American TV. So
Although,
we don't have a lot
sorry.
of issues describing things. Everybody knows what this and what's that. And whenever we get in trouble, we just show them a picture, and people, oh, okay, I know that from that TV show.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Do you know Grimm?
Grimm?
The TV show Grimm?
Grimm stories.
Brothers Grimm.
The Grimm brothers, they were actually like Germans, and I think when I was a little girl, I grew up with a lot of fairy tales. So about dragon, about the princess who wants to be saved from the prince with the white horse, like this. So I don't think it's all from America. It would be too easy to say it comes from there, but I think we as Germans, we grew up with these stories. So I think we know a lot about this also, because where I'm from exactly, there's a story about a dragon who was there and was killed by a normal guy from the easy people, from the folk. And I think I grew up with these stories, so I think in my mind I already have these impressions and these visions from what I want to do and what I can imagine without the American movies. So I think that's something we have, especially in German, with these fairy tales from the Grimm brothers.
Yeah, you just have to grab your bookshelf, and I pulled one out.
Yeah,
book about fairy tales.
German.
Yeah,
very good.
Our version of fairy tales and folk stories are more verbal. It's an oral tradition. You hear it from your grandparents and about the jinn and the person who fell in love with a jinn. And these kind of stories, we have these in our culture. But for me to put them in a role-play game is, like I said, I'm still kind of new. It's a long shot for me yet. But I'm sure that there are more people around here that already did this somehow. As for the how the Western Americans brought these stories, I'm not saying these stories are American. I'm saying we got introduced to them through the American TV and the American movies. And even Americans, they don't know where these stories come from. They just know they watch them on TV.
Okay. Yeah, I guess when you constantly see these themes and such, it's very easy to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, we role play Western style settings. And it's really surprising because I never thought about it. We're so accustomed to it. We're just watching Western TV so much, it's just normal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
for us too, I guess.
I'm pretty sure that if I did like an Arabic setting, people would be more flustered. Like, what is that? Okay, so what is this? Can you describe that? I never heard of this.
But you should try it, maybe, because you see, I think it was Sweden or Norway who made a big Kickstarter. I don't know. It was
Simbaroon?
No, a Thrutgard or something like that. It's like the Dark Eye, but darker, way darker. In the darkest forest, there's only one single troll, and you are the one adventurer, and run from it. Something like that. I think it was called Thrutgard or something like that. And you have this one for Norway, Sweden. You have the Dark Eye in Germany. And maybe one day we have something for Arabia or some sort of setting.
Maybe you can invent something and make a lot of money because you're the first one.
Yeah, I should do that. I should definitely do that. I mean, because we already have a big community and we can do this as a collaborative. I'll bring it up to the guys. If anyone is here, let's do an Arabist setting for D&D.
Yeah, I think people would really buy that if you kickstart this. We
start the same way.
Yeah, it's for
20 or 30 years ago. It's the same way. It's a hobby, and one guy said, "I write it down and publish it as a book."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
very
yes.
the setting is because we are all so influenced by Western culture. We do watch Game of Thrones. What else? It could be very exotic to a lot of people and very interesting to try out, because there are some Japanese RPGs, but they don't get translated to English or German or whatever. So yeah.
I saw a couple of reviews. They seem really good, but the core books are all in Japanese. They never translated.
Yeah.
So my community, we're already working in some sort of translation of Dungeons and Dragons, the rules and the core ideas, so that we can bring it to people who don't speak English. So we're slowly going toward that direction, just building up little by little within our free time. Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you all, Hendrik, and what did we write your name?
Mine?
Frosty.
No, hers?
Yes, Frosty and Scafine. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for the chat, for all the text,
input,
for telling me how to spell the German things that I heard. And thank you for your feedback and ideas. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, both the guests and the audience.
It was a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.
I love to watch the next episodes with French people and Texanians or maybe English people.
Definitely, if anyone whose native language is not German, because we already finished that, hit me up on Twitter at D20 Arabia, and let's see when can we do this. Thanks again, and have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.